Minnesota at UNC. Uh, I'll let you take this one.
All right. If you're familiar with Gopher football, like I am, I, it's just frustrating to see the same things go wrong in games you lose, in games you think you should win and compete in. You didn't even compete. You did. You really had chances to win. It was a one score game in the third quarter, and you're driving, and your quarterback goes out with cramping, and then your back quarterback throws an interception on a terrible pass. Like, what is that? And it's nice to see Darius Taylor. I mean, he's your whole offense right now. A true freshman running back is your whole offense. What happens when he goes in the transfer portal next year and gets a huge bag in NIL? You're screwed. I mean, yes, I know it's obviously I'm thinking glass half full here. I'm just frustrated, Minnesota fan, but Ethan Kalikmanis, who I have defended and I'm high on and still high on than everyone else, he sucked. He was terrible. He missed throws. He had open receivers. He caused 3 interceptions, turned the ball over. I know his O-line didn't hold up great in pass pro, but come on, man. The defense gave you turnovers. They turned the ball over on Drake May multiple times, and you had chances to go and capitalize on those, and you didn't. Too many missed mistakes, too many red zone blunders, right? It's the same things all along. And for UNC, right? Credit to you guys. Nate McCollum's awesome. It was nice to see him back and to see him play really well and have good chemistry with Drake May. And the defense, I mean, obviously it's Minnesota, so who knows? They're going to see better offenses and quarterbacks in the ACC for sure at this point with Minnesota's offense. But they played pretty darn well, right? They gave up only 13 points, but it was the pressure on the quarterback. It was forcing bad throws. I mean, you got ran on a little bit, but that's going to happen with your team here. And I don't know. Drake May missed some throws, but he made some. And that was the thing is when a play was there to be had, North Carolina made it. And when a play was be there to had from Minnesota, they did not make it. And that's what happened. You had big plays, turning points in the game, and you ended up getting blown out on the road. Very disappointing, very frustrated for Minnesota. Obviously, you get 2 weeks here. If you're Minnesota looking forward, you get Louisville, or I'm so sorry, you get Northwestern and then Louisiana at home for homecoming. But regardless, you got to be frustrated, especially in a year where the Big Ten West is probably as bad as it's been since it's been created, and everything's right in front of you, and it just doesn't work out. But Darius Taylor, it's good to see him doing well. Sean Tyler only getting 3 carries is interesting, even though Taylor was awesome, and I don't hate that he got all the carries because I
Taylor
think
was
he's awesome.
fantastic. He is a
He
phenomenal football player.
he runs hard. There were some plays where it was third and short or whatever it was, and he would get met, a yard short and then push his way forward. He great vision out of the backfield too a couple times. Well, a couple times last time, one time this game. But Brevin span forward, man. I know you're hurt. I know you're banged up. You were bad, man. You were bad. You had some drops, some other thing. I mean, it's just frustrating. Where was Daniel Jackson? Your
Five
wide
targets.
receiver one, 0 catches. And Nate McCollum, the other side, your wide receiver one, 15 for 165. I mean, bruh. And
20 targets,
even
by the way. 20 targets.
people
20.
are upset about the play calling and the play design. Offense coordinator Greg Harbaugh for Minnesota. And I am too, obviously. I don't know if I'll blame it on him. I think Fleck, man. I love Fleck, and I'll continue to defend him. He's done great things for Minnesota. The fact that I'm even frustrated that Minnesota lost to North Carolina is credit to him and where he's put this program at. Philosophically, if you want to win and beat good teams, you got to change the way you run your offense. And Nick Saban did it. He adapted. Obviously, at Alabama, it's a lot easier to be able to change from a ground and pound to a elite offensive weapons, elite line, great quarterback distributor. But you think you have the quarterback to do so and the weapons to do so this year. Why is it so clunky? What's the problem here? And we'll see if they can get it figured out going into Big Ten play. And Cody Lindenberg, and I'm never going to call anyone out for not playing if they're injured. What's going on there? I know PJ Fleck holds everything close to his vest in terms of injuries. He's very, paranoid about all that stuff, which I get totally. But when that injury came out in fall camp, it was supposed to be like a day-to-day type thing, or maybe like 1 week out, and then the next week he should have been back and he should have played in the Nebraska game from the initial diagnosis. And then it's week 3 and he's still not out there. And we could have used him bad because there were some times where Drake May would just he is so good on 3rd and medium at running for the first down. He is so good at that. He's burned teams so many times throughout his career. But yeah, I think North Carolina can do some damage in the ACC. Obviously, didn't run the ball like they wanted to, but you knew that. You knew that. And Drake May's obviously Drake May. So it was good to see McCollum step up.
I agree. I don't think this game really changed. I mean, in our picks, I had Minnesota covering plus 7.5. It doesn't necessarily change exactly how I feel about either team, though. Does that make sense? Like, I knew Drake May was going to get his, and I think Minnesota just did not capitalize on some opportunities, and they ran the ball well. They ran the ball really well. Minnesota did. So I mean, Cali Manis, yeah, like you said, he was bad. I think, I know you're frustrated as a Gopher fan, and I'm sure Gopher fans should be frustrated, but I don't really see these teams a whole lot differently after this week, if that makes sense.
Not too surprising. Not too surprising if you've watched these two teams play this year. Obviously, if you're Minnesota, you were hoping your team to put it together. Obviously, they're not yet ready.
Yeah, so I'm not buying North Carolina stock, but I'm not selling Minnesota stock.
A
I'm not
player that
doing
needs
either.
now Minnesota, their defensive line, which was a problem last year, kind of got after Drake May at times. They did a good job. I mean, yes, he able to scamper for some runs, extensive plays, but there were some big time like stops for them, and they did that, and the offense just kind of wasted it at times. But yeah, North Carolina, credit to you guys. You guys won that game. It was not one of those like Minnesota threw it away. No, North Carolina earned that win. Obviously, they're 3-0, looking ahead, and it's a pretty impressive 3-0. You would talk about South Carolina, right? Rivalry game, passionate team, a team. It was neutral site. It was a game that was
The two and a
a
half point
team that
line.
just took Georgia. Yeah, it was close. Yeah, it took Georgia to the wire. I guess kind of made them sweat. App State, who we know always gives you troubles, rivalry game again. And then a team like Minnesota, who's won 8 or 9 games every year the past 3 years. And you kind of manhandled them. You kind of dominated that game from the jump. So credit to North Carolina, 3-0. Mac Brown.
Yeah, and then North Carolina, they go to Pitt next week, and then
Dub.
they get a bye
Sorry.
before getting Syracuse at home, right? So that's 5-0 right there. And then that's when you get Miami, and then the rest of their schedule after that's pretty manageable. Of course, you go to Clemson, you go to NC State, which is always trouble. But a game like Duke, you get at home, Virginia home, Georgia Tech on the road. But I don't know, man.
Sneaky.
I mean, I took their under 7.5 wins, but this is a very manageable schedule for them for sure. And I think they could prove me wrong for sure. They could prove me wrong.